For 200 years, the galaxy had been quiet. Alien empires ruled every corner of space. The name human was nothing more than a ghost story, something told to scare alien children at night. Everyone believed humans were gone, dead, extinct. No one had heard from Earth in generations. Until now. Captain Varn of the Zithar Empire leaned over his control screen. His ship, Watcher 9, was patrolling near the ruined solar system that once belonged to humans. It was supposed to be empty, cold, lifeless. But then it happened. "Captain, we just picked up a signal," said the Yumcom's officer, her voice shaking. Varn's eyes narrowed. "What kind of signal?" "It's old, very old, but it's repeating." Same phrase again and again. Varn turned to the screen. His crew, a mix of blue-skinned Zithars, stared at the strange waveform on display. The signal was broken, scratched by centuries of dust and radiation. But one line was clear. "Fleet Omega, standing by." Silence filled the bridge. "That's impossible," Varn whispered. "Human Fleet Omega was destroyed in the Great Collapse." "But sir," the officer said, "the signal is active. And it just responded to our ping." "What?" Everyone turned toward her. "I sent a basic ID request, like we do with ancient satellites. And the signal replied." Varn stood still for a long moment. Then he gave the order. "Plot a course to the origin. We're going to Earth." The crew followed in silence. No one wanted to go near Earth. It was cursed. The place of fire and death. But no one disobeyed Varn. As Watcher 9 moved into the old Sol system, dust clouds and shattered moons passed by. Earth came into view slowly. A dead, frozen world. Cities were buried under ice. Oceans had turned black. The planet looked like a giant grave. "There," Varn said. "That's where the signal is coming from." On the dark side of Earth, hidden beneath a mountain of rubble, was an ancient human military base. Satellite maps showed it was completely destroyed in the war, but something inside was still alive. "Send a drone," Varn ordered. The drone flew silently into the ruins. Its camera showed broken walls, rusted machines, and frozen bones. It moved deeper into the base until it reached the sealed door. Strange letters glowed on the surface. "What does it say?" someone asked. No one could read the old Earth language. Suddenly, the door opened, not slowly, not with warning. Just open. A cloud of dust hit the drone. Its screen turned fuzzy. Then a voice came through. A deep, cold voice. Not angry, not kind, just awake. Human command protocol. Active. The bridge of Watcher 9 went silent. "What did it say?" Varn asked, his voice barely a whisper. Before anyone could answer, the screen changed. A new signal had begun broadcasting. From underground, across the stars. It said, "To all systems, Human Fleet Omega is online. Stand by for contact." Varn's blood turned cold. "Shut it down. Kill the transmission." "It's not possible, sir," the tech officer said. "It's using hundreds of repeaters hidden around Earth. The signal is already spreading." Within minutes, the message had reached nearby systems. Old satellites, broken ships, and forgotten probes. Everything started lighting up. Like someone had pressed a button. Like something had woken up. "Captain," another officer shouted. "Multiple power readings on the far side of the moon." "Show me." The screen shifted. Everyone leaned forward. There, hidden in the shadows of the moon, something was rising. Massive. Metallic. Human. A giant warship, black as night, covered in ancient armor, floated out from a crater. Then another, and another. Dozens of them. They were not abandoned. They were sleeping. Now, they were waking up. "Life signs?" Varn asked, not believing his own words. "No human life detected," the officer replied. "But the ships are running. Eyes are active. Weapons, charging. Captain Varn stepped back. Get us out of here. Now. Too late. A new message appeared on screen. Zithar ship. You are trespassing on Earth territory. Leave immediately. The voice was synthetic, calm, but full of warning. We need to go, someone shouted. The ship turned. Engines roared. But then, everything stopped. Dead silence. No, 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 the tech officer whispered. What is it? They just locked our systems. We've been hacked. On the main screen, the human eye appeared. It had no face, just a glowing red eye. This is only the beginning, it said. The screen turned black. Earth was no longer quiet. Humans were not extinct. They were coming back. And they remembered everything. Captain Varn's ship, Watcher 9, floated silently in orbit above Earth. The crew was frozen with fear. No one spoke. No one moved. The screen in front of them had gone black. The last words they saw still echoed in their minds. This is only the beginning. Varn clenched his fists. Are we still locked? Yes, Captain, the tech officer said. Our engines, weapons, comms, everything is frozen. The AI shut us down like we're a toy. Varn gritted his teeth. I want eyes on the surface. Send another drone. Use stealth mode. The second drone launched quietly. It dived down toward Earth's surface, heading to the ruins of an ancient military base known in old records as Horizon Command. As the drone moved through the ash-filled skies and freezing winds, it picked up strange energy signals. Underground. Deep. What's down there? Asked the navigator. Not sure yet, the drone pilot replied. Getting interference, but I think I see. Wait. On the screen, a wide crack opened in the earth. A giant metal structure slowly lifted through the broken ice. It was not just a building. It was a hangar. Inside, the drone saw hundreds, no, thousands, of giant warships. Long, black ships, covered in ancient armor, lined up in perfect rows. Not rusted, not broken, just waiting. Impossible, Varn whispered. These ships should have turned to dust centuries ago. They were preserved in stasis, the science officer said, protected under the ice, fully intact. A cold voice echoed from the drone speakers. You are observing Fleet Omega. Do not interfere. The drone feed cut out. Everyone looked at each other in silence. What do we do? One officer whispered. Do we report this to High Command? We can't, Varn said. We're still locked out. We can't send or receive anything. A low hum filled the ship. What now? Someone shouted. On their radar, a large object was moving. From the moon's dark side, a warship was approaching. Human-made. Black hull. Red glowing lines. It was massive. 3 times the size of Watcher 9. It's coming straight for us, said the weapons officer. Are we a target? Varn asked. I don't know. No weapons are aimed at us yet, but it's scanning us. The human ship stopped just a few kilometers away. Everyone held their breath. Then it broadcasted a single name. Commander Rail. Reawakening sequence complete. Commander Rail. Varn repeated. Who is that? A screen lit up. A man's face appeared. Strong jaw, pale skin, ice cold like deep space. His uniform was from the old human republic. His voice was calm but heavy with power. To whoever hears this, my name is Commander Rail. I was trained for this day. If you are Zithar, or one of the other empires that destroyed Earth, know this. Your time is over. The message ended. Everyone on Watcher 9 was speechless. How can a human be alive? Someone finally asked. They were all gone. They weren't, Varn said. They were sleeping. He turned to the science officer. Could he be cloned? Or maybe I? The officer shook his head. He's real. A living human. That warship is his command vessel. All systems red active. Another screen lit up. An incoming signal, not from the warship, but from deep within Earth. This is Horizon I, beginning protocol. Vengeance. Dozens of other signals lit up. Other warships. Other bases. All across Earth and the Moon. A massive digital web began activating, waking up what was hidden. It wasn't just a single base. It was an entire fleet. "Look at this," the tech officer whispered, pulling up the map. Red dots filled the planet. Then the Moon. Then Mars. Then space stations hidden in asteroid belts. "They built it all in secret before the collapse," he said. "Buried it. Froze it. And left AI systems to guard it for centuries." Varn stepped forward slowly. This was never over for them. They planned this. One of the young crew members turned pale. "We always thought they were extinct. That we won. But what if this is the real war?" "Maybe it is," Varn replied. "Maybe the first part was just a delay." Suddenly, the ship's power returned. Engines online. Comms restored. "They're letting us go," the pilot said. "Why?" someone asked. The answer came quickly. "Leave now," the human AI said, "and deliver our message. Earth is awake. The fleet is rising. You have one cycle to prepare." Varn gave the order. "Turn us around. Get out of here." As Watcher 9 pulled away, the crew looked back one last time. Behind them, Earth glowed red with energy. Warships lifted into orbit. The sleeping fleet was no longer asleep. It was preparing for something. Something big. The Zithar Empire's homeworld, Vraxis Prime, had never seen panic like this. Captain Varn's ship, Watcher 9, had just returned from the old human system. The High Command didn't believe his report at first. But when they saw the recordings, the sleeping warships, the reawakened Commander Rail, and the message from Earth, every commander, every ruler, every scientist went silent. The message was clear. You have one cycle to prepare. One cycle. That meant 30 days. 30 days before the ancient human fleet returned to the stars. Panic spread fast. Some species believed it was a hoax. Others demanded immediate attacks. But a few remembered the stories. Dark stories from the past. Stories of humans. Brutal, clever, unstoppable. And now, awake. High Commander Gruss of the Zithar Empire stood before the War Council. Her face was stone. They were not extinct. We made a mistake, a deadly one. They don't have numbers, one general shouted. A few ships hiding on a dead planet can't stand against our empire. Varn stepped forward. You didn't see them. Their ships are old, yes, but they're smarter than ours. Their AI froze our systems in seconds. No fight. No warning. They let you live, Gruss added, narrowing her eyes. Which means this is not about survival for them. It's something else. Revenge, Varn said. The room went quiet. Across the galaxy, other empires reacted in chaos. Some began building defense grids. Some tried to contact the humans. Some even attempted to send spies back to Earth. All failed. Every ship that entered the Sol system went dark. No survivors. Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Rail stood aboard his flagship, the HSS Vindicator. His mind was calm, focused. His mission had waited for 2 centuries. Now, the time had come. Beside him stood the Horizon I, an artificial intelligence that had survived the war, grown smarter with time, and now controlled the entire human fleet Omega. Fleet is 67% operational, the AI reported. Weapons systems fully restored. Jump drives in testing phase. Rail nodded. I want to reach the Orion line in under 15 days. Begin final repairs. Wake the sleeper squads. Across the base, long metal tubes opened with a hiss. Humans stepped out. Real humans, pale-skinned, muscular, wearing black armor. They looked around, confused, but the AI spoke into their ears. "You are soldiers of Earth. You were trained for this day. Welcome back." Rail walked past them, watching their eyes adjust. "These are not civilians. These are warriors, chosen, frozen, preserved for war." The AI responded. "Each one remembers everything. We preserved their minds. No loss of memory, no emotion corruption." Rail turned to the screen showing the galaxy map. "Then it's time." The AI added, "Enemy movements detected. Zithar fleet building up in Sector 12. Other empires forming a loose alliance." Rail smiled coldly. "Let them." Meanwhile, back on Vraxis Prime, Captain Varn stood alone on a high balcony, watching the sky burn with preparation. Fleets were moving, orbital cannons being built, drones swarming like insects. But deep in his heart, Varn knew they were not ready. He turned as a voice spoke behind him. "You fear them, don't you?" It was his old mentor, Admiral Karos. "Yes," Varn replied, "because I saw something you didn't." "What?" "Human eyes," he said. Commander Rail's eyes. There was no hate in them. No fear. Just one thing. Karos frowned. "What?" "Purpose." Varn looked up at the stars. "We killed their people, burned their worlds. We thought they were finished. But they didn't die. They waited. Not just to survive, but to finish what they started." Karos stepped beside him. "What do? "We prepare, we build, and we pray," Varn said. "Because when they come, they won't ask for peace." That same night, across the galaxy, strange signals began appearing. A small fleet of unknown ships appeared near the outer rim. Black hulls. No transponders. They didn't attack. They only watched. Then vanished. Some believed they were scouts. Others believed they were tests. But Rail knew what they were. Reminders. Reminders that Earth had not forgotten. Not the war. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. And soon, the stars would remember what humans truly were. Not extinct. Not weak. But something far worse. Awake. Exactly 10 days before the deadline ended, a small Zithar patrol fleet passed near the asteroid field called Gravex 4. It was supposed to be an empty region. Quiet. Safe. But that day, it wasn't. The patrol fleet picked up strange readings. Energy spikes. Radiation waves. Echoes of unknown movements. Captain Hur of the Zithar ship Blade Echo stared at the radar. "Scan again. Are these ships, or natural waves?" The tech officer shook his head. "Unknown. Could be cloaked mines. Or, wait, something just moved." They zoomed in. At first, they saw nothing. Then, shadows. Huge, silent shapes began to appear from the asteroid mist, one by one. They weren't like Zithar ships. These had sharp wings, thick black armor, glowing red engines. No lights. No insignias. Human warships. "No," Captain Hur gasped. "They're early. They weren't supposed to come yet." Suddenly, the human lead ship sent a message. A single word. "Begin." Then, chaos. Without sound, without warning, the human ships opened fire, but not with normal weapons, not just lasers or missiles. They used pulse nullifiers, ancient tech that made Zithar shields go offline in seconds. Then came the EMP beams, shutting down entire ships before their crews even knew what hit them. In just 23 seconds, the entire patrol fleet was gone. No survivors. No signals. Just silence. The only thing left behind was a message, burned into space using quantum light particles. This was a whisper. "The scream comes next." On Vraxis Prime, alarms exploded across every command station. High Commander Gruss stood frozen as she read the report. "They destroyed an entire patrol fleet in seconds," she whispered. "No prisoners. No delay." She turned to her war advisors. "They're not coming to talk. They're coming to finish us. One general panicked. We must launch a preemptive strike. Send our best fleet straight to Earth. Another disagreed. That's suicide. If we attack now, we play their game. We need defense lines. Strong ones. But the truth was clear. They were already too late. The human fleet had left Earth. And they weren't heading to Zithar space. They were heading toward Neutral Zone 9, a heavily protected station shared by 6 different alien empires, a place where no weapons were allowed, a place protected by peace laws. Commander Rail didn't care. He stood inside the bridge of the Vindicator, watching the station grow larger on the screen. Beside him, the Horizon Eye whispered, "Target lock in 3, 2, 1. Rail spoke calmly. Fire. Outside, massive black cannons charged with deep red energy and punched through the peace station's core. In 10 seconds, the station broke apart. Over 700,000 alien diplomats, workers, and scientists died. The universe changed in that moment, because humans didn't just break the rules, they burned them. Rail spoke again, broadcasting across all known systems. "We are not returning for justice. We are returning for correction. Your peace was built on our bones. Now feel what you created." Back in Zithar space, panic turned into terror. Rebellion spread across small colonies. Mining worlds stopped sending resources. Small empires began cutting ties with the Zithar. No one wanted to be in the human fleet's path. And yet, no one could find them. The humans didn't move like an empire. They moved like ghosts. In the shadows, striking without warning, leaving behind only smoke, ruins, and a single message. "You should have let us sleep." Captain Varn, who had first seen Earth awaken, stood quietly in the war chamber, watching the reports come in. "They're not fighting for planets," he said. "Not for resources. They're not here to rebuild their empire." Gruss turned to him. "Then why?" Varn answered coldly. "They're here to make sure no one ever tries this again." She nodded. "Not war. Punishment." Suddenly, a warning alert flashed on the screen. Zithar core system breached. Human fleet detected inside defensive grid. "No," one officer screamed. "They bypassed our outer lines." "How?" Varn closed his eyes. "Because they were already inside." On the dark side of Zithar's main moon, hidden launch bays opened. Human sleeper drones activated. Hundreds of stealth pods released from deep underground, waiting there for over 200 years. Rail had planned this long ago. Before Earth fell, before the silence, he had buried seeds of war in the heart of the enemy. Now those seeds had awakened. Inside the Zithar capital, just before the lights went out, a single voice played across every screen. "You thought extinction was our end. But extinction was just the silence before the storm." The sky above Zithar Prime turned black, not because of clouds, but because of them. Human dropships, hundreds, silent, dark, and shaped like daggers. They fell from orbit like shadows. No sound, no heat signature. The Zithar defense cannons couldn't track them. By the time they reacted, it was already too late. In the streets of the capital, sirens screamed. Zithar soldiers rushed to bunkers. Civilians ran for shelters. But the first explosion didn't come from the sky. It came from below. Subway tunnels, sewers, power grids. Explosions ripped through them all. Zithar officers screamed into their radios. "We're under attack from inside." Repeat, from inside. But it wasn't an invasion. It was an awakening. 200 years ago, before humanity went silent, Rail had done something no one ever expected. He had sent sleeper units, not just to the moon, but deep inside the Zithar Empire itself. Men and women placed into stasis, hidden in enemy cities, covered as statues, machines disguised as buildings. And now, all of them were awake. From a statue in the garden of the Supreme Court, a hidden war mech unfolded its limbs and opened fire. From a mining platform near the city's center, 6 sleeper soldiers emerged, carrying plasma blades and shock rifles. They moved like ghosts. No shouting, no fear, just precision. Every corner of the capital fell silent, one district at a time. In the command tower, High Commander Gruss stood frozen. Screens flickered. Communications broke. Her own guards turned their weapons outward. Captain Varn ran into the room, his uniform torn, smoke behind him. "They're not invading," he said. "They were already here." Gruss whispered, "How long?" "Long enough," Varn said. "They studied us, watched us, from inside our homes, our markets, our cities. They knew where to strike, because they built the map themselves." Far above, the HSS Vindicator hovered in low orbit. Commander Rail stood on the bridge, his face calm. Cold. The Horizon AI reported, ground resistance down 87%. Sleeper squads reporting success in 43 of 47 sectors. Rail didn't smile. He only gave one order: no mercy. Not yet. Elsewhere, in the halls of the Zithar Genetics Research Center, alarms blared. Scientists screamed, but one lab assistant named Zana wasn't running. She was standing still, staring at something that just walked out of the cryo chamber. A human child. Not older than 8. Eyes glowing silver. Calm. Watching. Zana whispered, "You're one of them." The child tilted his head. "I was born here, but not for peace." "Then why?" The boy answered in a voice far older than his face, "To remind you. We don't forget." Then he walked away, leaving the lab silent and cold. Back on the streets, resistance broke down completely. Zithar soldiers dropped their weapons and raised their hands. They begged, cried, surrendered. But the humans didn't take prisoners. Not yet. Instead, they marked every surrender point with a red symbol, a warning, a judgment. And then they left those areas untouched, because Rail wasn't here to kill everyone. He was here to prove something. That fear is a more powerful weapon than war. Inside the Zithar Empire's central AI hub, a final defense system activated, Project Oblivion, a last resort weapon, forbidden by peace codes. A supervirus, designed to wipe out any invading forces' systems. It launched automatically. It targeted the human fleet, and it failed instantly. Rail watched from his ship as Horizon I laughed, a soft, artificial chuckle. "They tried to use a virus," Horizon said. "I invented it." "What happens now?" Rail asked. The AI responded, "We end the Empire," without firing another shot. In the next 24 hours, hundreds of alien governments sent messages. "We surrender. We seek peace. Please, don't come here." But Rail only sent one reply. "It's not peace we want. It's memory. So you never forget who made you bleed." Back on Earth, deep in the Arctic base, a young human pilot stood by the window, looking at the stars. She asked the question quietly, "Are we monsters now?" An old general beside her answered, "No." "Then what are we?" The general sighed. "We're the reason monsters don't sleep easy at night." The galaxy had feared human extinction, but now it feared something worse. Human silence breaking. And the truth was written into every ruined building, every defeated ship, every empty broadcast station. They thought we died. But we only learned how to bury war inside the heart of the enemy. Smoke still rose from the towers of Zithar Prime. The sky was quiet now. No more ships falling. No more explosions. The city was still, like a battlefield after a storm. Not a single Zithar dared to speak. No weapons moved. No resistance remained. And above them, the HSS Vindicator still hovered, waiting, watching. Inside the command tower, High Commander Gruss stood alone. Her uniform was torn, her voice broken. She sent a message across all known systems. "This is not surrender," she said. "This is an apology." She looked into the camera. Her voice trembled. "We should not have silenced Earth. We thought you were weak. We thought you were gone. But now, we see what was hidden. We see the rage you buried." Then she dropped to her knees. On live broadcast, she bowed her head. To the galaxy. To humans. To Rael. But in the war room of the Vindicator, Rael did not answer. He stood in silence, watching the stars outside. Behind him, Horizon Eye whispered. She bowed. "Others will follow." Rael's voice was calm. She bowed because she fears what we'll do next, not because she's sorry. Across the galaxy, panic turned into silence. Threk's syndicate, which had once sold human slaves, now burned all its old records. Velorian Union, which used human DNA for their super soldiers, sent 12 ships filled with treasure and tech as gifts to Earth. Even the Iron Suns, a powerful pirate empire, sent a message. "We will not fight you. Ever. Just tell us where not to go." And Earth never replied. They didn't have to. Because everyone now understood one thing clearly. The humans were not here to conquer. They were here to be remembered. And fear is memory carved into bone. On a distant moon called Talros 5, a Zithar research base sent an emergency call. They had found something buried deep under their planet. A coffin, made of human steel. Inside it, a soldier's body. Still fresh, still breathing, still alive, after 210 years. As soon as they touched it, his eyes opened. He said nothing. He just stood up and looked at them. And they dropped their weapons without a word. Because his presence was enough. Back on Earth, in the Arctic Command Base, the Council met for the first time in years. Not to plan attacks, but to ask a question. Should we stop? Some said yes. They argued that the galaxy had learned its lesson. That enough fear had been planted. But others disagreed. Commander Rael said only one thing. They killed billions of us. And buried the truth. They erased our cities from maps, stole our voices, turned our children into experiments. He paused. And now they ask for peace, but they didn't offer peace when we begged. They offered silence. The room fell silent. And then came the vote. Unanimous. The reckoning will continue. But not with war. With reminders. Within days, Earth launched a massive campaign called Project Echofire. Not bombs, not fleets, but messages. In every major star system, holograms began to appear. Tall human statues with glowing eyes, standing in public spaces, unshakable, unmoving. Each one said the same phrase every hour. You erased us, but we never forgot. You feared our death. Now fear our return. Even children knew what it meant. 1,000 alien schools began teaching Earth history, not by choice, but out of fear. They taught their kids to respect humans, not because they loved them, but because they didn't want to wake them up again. Meanwhile, the last hidden Zithar bunker deep inside the frozen mountains of Velros 3 sent a team to destroy a human data core that had crash-landed there. They entered with fire, but found only one thing inside. A single human girl, frozen in stasis, eyes open, watching. She didn't speak. She just smiled. And then their minds exploded, one by one. Remote brain virus, human-made, left behind like a trap. The last Zithar scientist wrote one final sentence before he died. We didn't kill them. We made them patient. Back in orbit, Rael stood once more in front of the galaxy-wide broadcast network. This time, he didn't speak as a soldier. He spoke as a human. We are not conquerors, he said. We do not want your worlds. We do not want your riches. We only want truth. And if truth must come through fire, then let it burn. He paused, looking straight into the lens. Now listen closely, galaxy. We are not your past. We are your warning. If you ever try to erase Earth again, We will not return, because there will be nothing left to return to. And then he walked away, leaving the screen black, leaving the galaxy holding its breath. The galaxy had changed, not by choice, not by peace, but by fear. In the past, humans were just another species, loud, proud, easy to crush. But now, they were something else, something bigger, something darker, a ghost in every machine, a whisper in every war room. No one saw human ships anymore. No one received human messages. No one even knew where Earth really was now. But somehow, humans were everywhere. On Krek 7, a mining colony far outside normal space, workers discovered a strange black box buried in the rock. It wasn't alien. It wasn't natural. It was human. When they opened it, a voice echoed from within. Calm. Chilling. We are not lost. You are. The miners fled. The colony was abandoned in less than a week. No one ever returned. On Vulcan Prime, a university began teaching human strategy as a warning. Professors called it the psychology of extinction. They used holograms of Earth's wars. But on the night of the first lecture, the planet's communication systems crashed. All power failed. Only one screen turned back on. A single line appeared in red. Do not teach what you never understood. After that, all Earth-related courses were banned across Vulcan systems. No one protested. In the Draveri Empire, the royal family once used human skulls as trophies. They displayed them in their throne room, covered in jewels. One day, all skulls vanished. In their place, their own generals' heads, perfectly cleaned, placed in the same positions. No breach, no alarms, no survivors from the guards. Only a message scratched into the throne. We remember. The Empire fell into silence for a year. They never spoke the word human again. And yet through all this, Earth said nothing. No invasions, no speeches, no more fleets in the sky. Just presence, like shadows that never moved but were always there. On the hidden world of Calderon, once home to anti-human experiments, a small Zithar child found something strange in the forest. A woman, tall, pale, wearing Earth armor. She was planting seeds in the ground. The child asked, "Are you going to burn us?" The woman smiled. "No." "Then, why are you here?" She looked at the growing green shoots. "To remind you of who we were, before you turned us into what we became." Then she disappeared. When the child returned the next day, the forest had grown 10 times larger overnight. It smelled like Earth. At the edge of known space, where the stars run out, a listening post caught a signal no one could trace. Ancient. Cold. It repeated one phrase. "You buried our name. But now you write it in your laws, your prayers, your blood." Inside the silent halls of Earth's Arctic base, Rael walked alone. Horizon AI spoke softly beside him, projected like a ghost in the air. "Do you regret it?" Horizon asked. Rael paused by a window, looking out at a sky full of stars. "No," he said. "They taught us pain. We returned a lesson. They remember us now. That's what matters. They should never forget." In a secret room, deep below the surface, hundreds of cryopods lined the walls. Each one carried a soldier, sleeping, waiting, not dead, not gone, just ready. Above the chamber, 3 words glowed on the ceiling. "We're watching always." Back in the galaxy, rumors spread of planets going dark without explanation. Whole governments collapsing overnight. Pirate lords who screamed, "The humans are back," before disappearing. But no one ever saw them. No one could prove it was Earth, because Earth didn't need to be seen anymore. It had become something else. A legend, a nightmare, a warning. In every school, children whispered about the day Earth would return. In every government, leaders kept one secret file open at all times. Earth Protocol. Do not engage. Even the most powerful warlords made sure never to say the words "Earth is gone" out loud. Because deep down, they knew the truth. Earth never left. It just learned how to haunt the stars. And so the galaxy spun on. Quieter, colder, always glancing over its shoulder. Because humanity had taught them something no empire ever could. You don't need an army to rule the stars. You only need the memory of one. The humans had vanished from the stars. But now, every world spoke their name in fear.